I'm a 17-year-old high school student. Today, I'm boldly carrying out a long-held plan. That plan was to run away from home. At 17, the reason was simple. I hated both home and school. I saved the money meant for tuition. I packed a big hiking backpack with supplies. I even chose my destination. It was all carefully prepared. My destination was a temple deep in the mountains, where I dreamed of becoming a monk. I left home, took a bus, then a train, and finally arrived at the temple. I imagined they would welcome me warmly, but the monk's answer was firm and cold. Go back down the mountain. That single unexpected sentence hit me like a shock. The monk looked at me and said firmly, Go back down the mountain. Rejected at the temple, I walked down the mountain with tears streaming from my eyes. I had chosen the temple as an escape from reality. But being turned away at such a young age left me deeply confused. I had run away without saying a word to my parents, and I didn't want to go back. So I wandered with nowhere to go. I boarded a bus, exhausted from walking, and dozed off. At the final stop, the driver woke me. It was late at night. Rain was falling, and I had no umbrella. A woman got off the bus with me. She noticed I had nowhere to stay and kindly invited me to her home for the night. Thanks to her warmth, I had a meal and safely made it through that long night. After spending the night at the kind person's house, the next morning came. But as I packed my things and stepped outside, I had no idea where to go. My dream of escaping reality by becoming a monk and living quietly in a mountain temple had completely shattered. So I trudged along the country road and at a rural bus stop. A woman with a kind face noticed me and struck up a conversation. Maybe she found it strange to see me carrying a huge hiking backpack in a place where hardly anyone passed by. Without hesitation, she asked how old I was, afraid my runaway would be exposed. I lied and said I was 20. I was lucky to stay at her house, helping with the farm work for a few days. It's something unimaginable now, but 35 years ago, people's hearts were less guarded, warm, and humane. Yet, as I stayed in that unfamiliar countryside home, anxiety slowly crept in. I didn't want to go back home, but I had no destination either. Back then, there were no cell phones, so I had no way of knowing if my family was searching for me or worrying. The money I had prepared was running out, and in the end, I had to make a serious decision. When survival instincts kick in, a person's mental strength grows. At 17, I had to survive, so I needed to earn money to live. After countless struggles, I finally arrived in Seoul, the capital city of Korea. I asked for directions many times and had to transfer buses several times. Then I suddenly realized life doesn't always flow the way you want it to. And there it was, Seoul, the massive city I had encountered. For the first time in my life, coming from the countryside, I saw a chaotic city full of people and cars, tangled together, and I was overwhelmed. If I didn't earn money right away, my survival would be at risk. So I went to a labor office that introduced jobs. When they asked my age, I lied again and said I was 20. They seemed unsure whether I looked like a boy or a girl, so they even asked about my gender. I said I was female. When they asked what kind of work I was looking for, I shouted that I could do anything. I begged them to please give me some work. In that harsh reality, I was desperately struggling to survive. And in that complicated city, what would my very first job turn out to be? The monk looked at me and said firmly, "Go back down the mountain." This sentence in Korean is said like this: 하산하세요. One more time, 하산하세요. She looked at me at the bus stop and asked, "How old are you?" This sentence in Korean is said like this: 몇 살이에요? One more time, 몇 살이에요?